Hello and welcome to this edition of A Conversation with, I'm Jim Marshall of the New Bedford Cable Network, and we are here today being joined by His Excellency Bishop Edgar da Cunha of the Diocese of Fall River. He is back for another appearance. Obviously we haven't scared him away from the last couple of ones he's done. So we thank you for coming in again. It's great to see you. It's always great to talk to you about things that are going on and with the diocese and so many people look to you obviously for guidance, spiritual and otherwise, and it's just great to catch up with you every now and then, so I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to have the opportunity to have this conversation. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm glad to be here to address some of the issues that we would like to talk about so that the audience may be more familiar with what's happening in the Diocese of Fall River.
There are, the one thing I wanted to chat with him about is an initiative that's taking place in the diocese within the church, the Stronger Priests, Stronger Parishes, Stronger Church initiative, which I saw when I was at Mass a couple months ago actually. Mm-hmm. So that's why I wanted to talk to him. But first though, I wanted to chat with you and kind of what you always do is sort of, where are we right now as a diocese and the church? Just an overview, and like you said, it's a busy time right now.
Yeah, well, first of all, it is a Lenten season. It is a time with a lot happening in the parishes, in the diocese, in the church. We have a lot of masses. I kind of start early the confirmation season this year, maybe because Easter is kind of late this year. Mm-hmm. So I'm doing many confirmations. I have 2 on Saturday, I have 1 on Sunday, I have full weekend of parish visits and celebrations, and it's wonderful to get to the parish, to see the people, to see the priests in action, to celebrate with them. That's one of the best part of my job. And it's interesting to notice that after now, 3 years or so after the pandemic, I can see a growing attendance in the churches. The confirmations group are larger than they were for many years. So there is a sign of revitalization, of people coming back, of the confirmations group getting larger again, and it's really truly wonderful to see all that. And I enjoy going to the parishes, and I celebrated Mass at St. Julie for the pro-life Mass yesterday on Thursday, visited the schools, and so there's a lot happened, but a lot of good things, obviously, a lot of challenges too. This is the season too where I'm working on the new assignment for the priests. So mm-hmm. I have a lot of priests moving from one parish to another. Some are retiring, some want to be transferred, some need to be transferred. So that was a huge challenge because we don't have a huge reserve of priests that I can just send, but they were very good and generous. So this coming next weekend, the first weekend in April, we're going to announce all the reassignments and all the transfers for all the priests in the diocese.
It's important for you to get out, isn't it? From your standpoint, it's important for you not to be, I don't want to say here. You need to be out there, right?
Yeah, I need to be out there, and I want to be out there, mm-hmm. and I like to be out there. I tell people when I'm celebrating their confirmations that it beats being in the office dealing with papers and with problems when I can be with the people and celebrate with them. Obviously, you need to balance all this.
It's funny, it's a business. In a sense, you're running a business too.
That's right. We're running a huge corporation. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
So, but we have good staff who are, I have a lot to meet with different staff, different departments, and so that they can report what's happening. I can help them plans for what's happening. But yeah, that's a lot of all those things happen. We are also launching a first ever capital campaign for our diocese.
Okay.
In 121 years of the diocese, we've never had a capital campaign. So the time has come, the need is there, and we are in the early stage of planning a capital campaign. So right now, we are beginning to plan to launch our usual annual Catholic
Right.
appeal that
Yep.
we do every year. But probably sometime this year, we're going to be launching a capital campaign to establish endowments for the main work of the diocese, like Catholic schools, Catholic charities, formation of priests, retired priests, taking care of the nursing homes and the hospital ministry and the youth ministry and the faith formation and so many.
There's so many different,
many different areas that
Yep.
they're all important. So we're trying to see, prioritize and what we're gonna do and talking to different people. One of the things that I am so convinced that I need to inform the people what's going on. I need to be transparent. And one thing that there is a group called Voice of the Faithful that they evaluate dioceses in their transparency. And we went and they grade each diocese, right? You get up to 100. So we went from having a grade of 55 to 95.
Wow.
This year we're 95. So out of 190 dioceses, we are around 40 or so. So we, and in terms of safe environment and protecting the youth and the young, we were the third in the whole country. So those are important ministry services and that we are doing, and I'm proud of what we're doing.
The interesting thing too is you've talked about in the past. You want to get church attendance up. You want to see more people in,
Yes.
in the churches. I wanted you to touch on that. I also wanted you to touch on school, which you've been passionate about in the conversations we had. The Catholic school. Do you see one? You kind of touched upon it. You are seeing an increase in mass.
Right.
How are the schools doing?
Well, the schools is a challenge because I think two things. One is we don't have as many kids around as we used to. So, people not having 10 kids as they used to.
Yeah.
And so there are less children around. So even the public schools are facing it. So, and then the second thing is that it's become a lot more expensive to send children to a private school, to a Catholic schools. In the old days, you had the nuns teaching in the schools, and the tuition was very, very reasonable, and people were sending their kids to Catholic schools. So now, what we're trying to do is to reduce the number of schools because it's necessary, so that we can strengthen those that remain open and to be here for the long term. There is a good sign of hope that there is a bill in Congress that will, if passed, will allow the taxpayers to donate to a private school or Catholic school, and they get tax credit for it. There are 32 states in our country that has some form of tax credit or voucher or some form of public money that goes to Catholic education. In Massachusetts, we never had any, and we probably wouldn't have any. But this is a federal law that will then not be affected by state regulations. And therefore, I think it would be a tremendous asset if it passed. So I hope that our representatives will advocate for that and will support that bill, because it doesn't come from the government pocket. It comes from the people who donate and get tax credit for it.
You talked about off camera with me. High schools was tough, obviously. You talked about Coyle and Connolly both having to close, but you did say to me that Fian and Stang and St. John Paul
Right.
are doing well.
Yes. So that's the same thing, both for the high schools and for the elementary schools. we reduce the number of schools, but then we strengthen those that remain open and remain vital for years to come.
Do you find that people are, spirituality in general, do you find people now returning to it?
I think there are signs of that, and I think people are beginning to realize the need to participate in the church, the need to attend Mass, the need to receive the sacraments. There is, I was talking to somebody recently, and the person was telling me, I am convinced that there is a turning around of people who are so influenced by the secular society, but now people are beginning to realize the need and the importance of being in community, in a church, because it's not only your connection with God, it's your connection with other people. It's a sense of community, it's a sense of belonging. We are living in a society nowadays that we are so many ways connected virtually, but we're not connected personally.
And is that
that's
does that help or hurt though, from your standpoint? Because the challenge is, it seems with everything, is you're dealing with those electronic devices that weren't around even 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, but people, there is studies after studies shown that there is an increase in mental health issues, that there is increase in depression, an increase in suicide, all those things. And experts are telling us the increase in those issues are mostly related to isolation and to lack of human connection,
which was exacerbated by the pandemic.
Exactly, exactly. So all those things. So I think people are beginning to recognize I need connection with people. I need, watching the Mass on TV or live stream. It's okay, but it's not the same as going to church. Or when you go to, you can't receive the Eucharist if you do it from home. Second, you can't shake hands with people, you can talk with people, you can, there is a sense of belonging and support that we all need.
The other thing too is I saw a commercial from the Catholic Church. I don't know what it was, but it was emphasizing coming back to the church. It was geared toward adults.
Right. Yeah, there are many dioceses and many parishes who have launched that kind of initiative of inviting people to come back to God, come back to the church, come back to the faith. We need you here, and you need to be here for your own benefit.
Let's talk about the initiative that this is the Stronger Priest, Stronger Parish, Stronger Church initiative from 2025 to 2027. You've launched this. Talk a little bit about the overview of this. This is quite an initiative.
Yes, it is. It's kind of surprising for many people, and we received requests for more information. People wanted to follow the story because they found it unusual to start a diocesan initiative with the priests. Most dioceses, when they launch some kind of initiative or strategic planning, is focused on evangelization, bringing people back to the church, revitalize the parishes. We started with the priests because we are convinced that if the priests are not doing well, if they are not spiritually solid, mentally, emotionally, physically well, the parish will suffer and the church will suffer. So we can only renew and revitalize the parishes and the church if we have priests who are holy, who are healthy, who are stable, who are happy, and who are effective in their ministry. Now, the priests are also facing a lot of challenges in their life.
Right.
So there are all kinds of issues that the priests face today, considering everything that's happening, you know, the scandals of 20 years ago, the secularization of society, you know, people away from the church as opposed to what it was years ago, and all these things that are affecting the priest. So we said, we have to start with the priest. So we have to launch this initiative that's going to support them, that is going to...
You need to get, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
Yeah.
you need to get more.
That's right, and that's another thing, to implement the vocational recruitment and the formation. Not only get more, but get them to go through a good formation and preparation so that they come back, when they are ordained, they are solid, they have a good foundation to face the challenges of ministry. So this initiative then has this goal of strengthening the priests, supporting them, preparing them, whatever challenge they are facing. So, I mean, if people can go on the website and read more, because there's a lot in there, but the gist of it is to help our priests to be holier priest, healthier priest, happier priest, so that they can then be effective in their parish ministry, in their service to the people, and bring people to be closer to God and to become disciples of Jesus. That's the whole thing.
You know, I was talking to you off camera, kiddingly, and you didn't agree. And it's that, I mean, you did agree. I mean, in a sense, a priest has to be a showman. Mm-hmm. You're on stage.
Oh, that's right.
Every week, 4 or 5 times a weekend. That's hard to do. You know, as you said, there's a lot of responsibility that they have to do, because they're also running their own small business.
That's right. Yeah, they are administrator of a parish. So they're managing staff, they're managing buildings, they're managing finances, they're managing all these things, and yet their main calling is to be priest, to preach the gospel, to celebrate the sacraments, to save souls, to bring people closer to God. That's the main responsibility. But they also have to be good stewards of the parish that they are entrusted with.
What's the most important characteristic that you like to see in a priest?
Holiness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can be a great administrator, you can be an eloquent preacher, but if you're not a holy priest, that's not going to do a lot of good. But if they are a holy priest, everything else will fall in place.
And I think the other thing that I would think of, because you were talking about it with yourself, you've got to be engaged.
Yes. Oh, yes.
With the people.
That's part of who we are. I mean, that's what we are. Priest or a bishop is to be for the people.
Yeah.
Our main duty, you know, when we think what is the main responsibility of a priest, is to preach the gospel. Then you is to preach the gospel, then celebrate the sacraments, being administrator, counseling, all those other things, but preaching the gospel is the main responsibility. Well, you can preach the gospel if you're not there for the people, if you're not with them, if you're not in front of them, if you're not communicating with them. That's really is at the core of what it means to be a priest.
There's different things that you talk about in this that are fascinating about accomplishing the goal of the stronger priests, stronger parishes, a stronger church initiative, redesign church structure, create a strong priestly culture, which we're talking about, emphasize natural well-being. And you've emphasized, and you've talked about it a couple times here, the focus on mental and physical health.
Yeah.
And you kind of alluded to that from the COVID too, the pandemic, that did have an impact on everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I assume the priests too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it has a huge impact, because, you know, you think about how priests were in front of people every week, preaching the gospel. And all of a sudden, you have an empty church, and you may be speaking to a camera so that people...
It's different.
That's very different.
Yeah.
And the isolation. And, you know, if you as a father and husband, you have a family that you are together every day. During the pandemic, when we were in isolation, many priests, they were really isolated, because you're not connected with people anymore, because we were all quarantined, as it were.
Yeah.
So that was a tremendous impact on the mental health and emotional health and spiritual health of priests.
Yeah, the other thing here you talked about, which you will that you're going to go through, ensure effective priest assignments, as you were mentioning, cultivate a culture of vocations. How do you create that culture? Because I know, when I go to Mass at Holy Name at 4:00, Father Mike, we pray for people to join that.
Yeah.
How do you create that culture to get a young person to join?
Well, it's interesting. I'm glad you asked that, because that's a great question. I think one of the things that we're trying to do is to get the families and the people in the parishes to support young men who might be called to the priesthood. So we started an initiative recently entitled Called by Name. So we asked, last November, we asked every parish to submit names of young men whom they thought could be a possible candidate for the priesthood. So people just submitted names. We had well over 100 names submitted. So then we take all those names and we write letters to them, and then we have several group of priests who will then follow up with them and say, we received your name, are you interested in pursuing this? If they are, then we continue connecting with them, and they participate in retreats and participate in different activities that we do. So if we had 100 names submitted, maybe half of those are interested in doing a discernment.
More, yeah.
And maybe after that, those that continue with some discernment, maybe 10% will say, I will join. And so that's a process of selection.
Is that something new?
Yes, it is brand new. We are.
Do other dioceses do it too? This seems like a new initiative, which is.
It is a new initiative.
Yep.
There is an organization headquartered in Florida called Vianney Vocations. So we hire them to help us implement this, so that I don't have a full-time vocation director. I have two priests who are vocation director and assistant vocation directors who are also assigned in the parish. So therefore we needed the support. So this group from Florida has been supporting and helping us implement all these programs for recruiting vocations.
The last thing you have here, and it goes back to the business side, is reallocate resources.
Yeah.
You hear governments do it, businesses do it. You got to get the best bang for your buck, I guess, to put it that way.
That's right. So we have more churches than we need. We have maybe more schools than we need. So we have to consolidate. So we have consolidated some churches, some schools. We're going to consolidate some more churches where, I have a church that has 40 people attending Mass there. How can you support a church with 40 people attending? So there's no way. That's not sustainable. So situations like that where the attendance has gone down, maybe the change of the demographic in that particular area, or for whatever reason. So we have to be.
Those aren't popular decisions.
No, they are not, but they are necessary decisions. And as leader, we don't always make popular decisions. We make necessary decisions, and that's what we're here for.
Going forward, we got a couple minutes left. I just want to optimistic. What are you looking forward to? Does this initiative and things give you a sense of energy? And
oh, yes.
Do you think that things are turning the corner following the pandemic and what have you?
Yes, I am very hopeful that there are a lot of good things happening with our plans for a capital campaign, with the young people involved. We have a youth ministry that we never had before for the whole diocese, and we hired somebody who is really bringing young people together. We have a diocesan youth day, and every year we have more young people coming. So every year we're running out of room. We use the cathedral camp in East Freetown, and we are running out of room to do that. So that's another place that we're going to renovate to make it a center for retreat for young people, families, all kinds of activities. So we right now the architect is doing the drawing for the renovation of the Cathedral Camp to reopen as a center for activities. So there's a lot of good things happening, and I'm very hopeful.
Before I let you go, it seems like young people, in your mind too, because you've talked about them. Every time we come here, you talk about the young people, are key to the future.
Oh, absolutely.
So in 30 seconds or a minute, what's the benefit of going to a Catholic school, Catholic education?
Oh, there are so many, but I mean, I can tell the difference of young people who go to Catholic school and those who go to public school. First, the environment is very different. You know, the discipline, the values, the faith, the teaching about God and the faith that is in our Catholic schools that you don't find in public schools, the sense of responsibility and the sense, and in some cases the quality of the academics education too. So all those things make a difference in the lives of the young people who go to a Catholic school, who become very productive and successful members of our society.
Well, it's great seeing you as always. We've always got a lot to talk about. We could go on for another half hour or so,
Yeah,
but
probably, yeah.
easier said than done. I want to thank you, as always, for taking the time to talk to us.
My pleasure. Good to see you and good to talk to you, and blessings on everyone who is watching us, and a happy, blessed Lent and a happy Easter to everyone.
Yeah, happy Easter to you. That's going to do it for this edition of A Conversation With. I'm Jim Marshall, the New Bedford Cable Network. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.